All right, Ace, go
Let me
ahead.
talk to you. Yep. Let me talk to you. Yeah. All right. So we are welcome everybody to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I'm Ace. You're watching another episode of Sports Minute. Hope everyone's ready to rock and roll. I have the crew with us tonight. Welcome in. Big B, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. Just got done with cards. Not a good night, but always a good night when I can talk sports.
All right, Mr. James Gonzalez, how are you doing, my man?
I'm good. Work was a bummer today. It was just long, but I'm here to talk sports and whatever else we come up with.
Yeah, you're ready to rock and roll too. Definitely appreciate it. Definitely love it. We're all here. We're ready to have a great time. We have some good topics for you tonight. The first one, we're going to start out on the MLB side. So forgive me. The only reason why I'm doing this is because of a situation that
Oh
happened
yeah,
last week with the pitch clock. Now, it's kind of interesting though because the game ended on a 3-2 count with the bases loaded between the Braves and Red Sox. It ended in a tie because the pitch clock expired, and then the batter thought it went his way, but then the catcher thought it went their way, and indeed, it went the catcher's way. And so they gave it to them, and it ended up in a tie. So the whole situation I'm looking at is, and even Snitker said after the game that he's like, wait, this thing with the catcher was never discussed on the whole pitch clock thing. There was never a discussion saying, when the catcher was going to be ready or whatever, because everybody thought that, how is it only on the hitter if the catcher is not ready? So it's and that's true. It's like if the catcher isn't ready, then how can the hitter actually be ready too? And then which way does it go? So they actually gave it to the catcher. And I was like, you know what? That's kind of a weird situation. So James, I'll start out with you. What's your thoughts on this pitch clock because of how the game ended last week in the most bizarre fashion?
am I ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, it's spring training for everybody, but it's a new rule for everyone, and it's confusing. It really is. I don't like it at all when it comes down to the last, out of the game, the last strike of the game. You would have liked to see an umpire say, well, hold on, it's only spring training. These games don't count. Let me review what happened, and then we won't count it, and then we'll go on with the rest of the game. That's the way I would have seen it. Now, in other from that situation, I do like the fact that the pitcher has to come home or start his motion, by he has 15 seconds to do it, 20 with a runner on. The batter has to be ready, by 8 seconds. And, they can't step out. They can only call time once. They can only throw over, one time or two times, I think, at first for each runner. Or is it inning? I forgot. But I do like those rules, but it's spring training for everybody. And there's going to be a lot of confusion at first. And what we hoped when it happened to your Braves.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it happened to my favorite team.
But it doesn't
So
count. The game doesn't count.
no, it doesn't. But that wasn't the
But it
whole
doesn't
point
look
of it,
good.
though.
It doesn't
Yeah,
look good.
no, and that was the whole point. Is that it did not look good because then everybody afterwards, even Braves fans and stuff, were like, "Wait, what the heck just happened?" They're like, "Are you serious? You're going to end a game like this?" That's where there was a lot of confusion because people go, "How can you end a game like that?" That's where all that confusion was, and so that's where people are like, "Okay, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing?" And so Chuck saying, you guys are killing it. Love it. Thank you, Chuck Hoffman. Welcome in. Christy saying, hey, guys. And she said she hopes Red Sox improve this season. But now we'll get Big B's thoughts. So what do you think about the pitch clock? Yes, it is speeding up the game. But is this going to hurt games in general?
Yeah, speeding up games. At least they're good thing they're working out the kinks in spring training games where they can't. It doesn't affect the record. Now, is it when it affects the record of regular season? How are we all going to react? Yeah, it's tough. The players said they got to get used to it. The pitchers said they got to get used to it. The catchers have to get used to it. I've heard a lot of complaints that the relief pitchers have to change their game because they like to take their time, and now they got to push a little bit more and get the ball out faster. The pitchers can only do 2 pickoffs per plate appearance. If they attempt the third one and don't get the player out, it's called a balk. So
Yeah.
So to me, if I'm a speedy guy and the guy's already thrown over twice, that third time I'm taking off because you can't catch me. I'm going to get second. So we'll see how that plays. But the pitch clock, I went to a couple minor league games over the last couple of years. I'd had it, and I didn't think it affected it that much. James said, you got 20 minutes with the runner on base. You got 15 seconds, and the batter has to be ready by 8 seconds, I believe, in the box, ready to go. So it's going to get something to get used to. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm not against it. Let's see how it works. They've done other rules that I can't stand, but we'll see where it goes, and hopefully it does not affect a lot of games, especially coming down to the division winners, playoff games, World Series. Hopefully we don't see it where it affects that.
No, I get what you're saying there, Big B. I think that the biggest problem is that fans are like, do they even know what the rules are yet? Are they just kind of making up the pitch clock rules as they go along? Because when you're slowly watching, it kind of seems like that might be a little bit of what's happening.
Well,
they're kind of making a little bit up the rules like they go along. They're trying to understand it, but then like when Snitker and everybody's saying, they're like, this whole catcher thing was not talked about. And now it came up in the game. So if this wasn't talked about, how can you call it in the game?
Yeah, I don't know, but like we've said for everything, there's this thing called Google. Google is our friend, so we can only go by what we see here. And yeah, nothing was mentioned about the catcher. They gotta work that out. I don't know. I didn't hear the whole thing. I just saw that the batter wasn't ready at 8 seconds. He got called out of the ball. Pitcher went, or the ended in a tie, I guess. And then you had Machado, the first one to get the strike called on him because he wasn't ready. And he's already come out and said he's going to start a lot of at bats 0-1 because he's not going to be ready. So everybody's got to get used to it. If it was a catcher thing, then they got to address that before the regular season.
One rule that I remember, and it's still not really enforced as much, is the catcher blocking the plate when a runner comes.
Oh, yeah.
That's so iffy too, and they still haven't got it right, and right by the rule too, and that really pisses me off.
Well, there's been so many controversial things that have happened with the catcher blocking the plate, and did he block the plate? Did he not block the plate? Is the runner indeed out? They've had so many calls over the year that's kind of gone, both ways, to where people have been like, what kind of call is that? You kind of get people that are getting upset. And
enforce the rule.
Yeah, and so I think that that's kind of where this situation lies right now, is that people go, which way is it going to go? Is it going to be leaned more towards, is the catcher going to get the advantage, or is the batter going to get the true advantage of it all? And so that's where I think I do agree that it's a good thing that this is happening in spring training, that they have a chance to work out the kinks.
Yeah.
And that's the big part of it.
Well, reading up on the definition, as they call it, of this pitch clock rule. The rule, the pitcher must begin its motion and delivery before the expiry of the pitch clock, which normally I've seen a lot of them do that. The batter must be in the box and alert to the pitcher by 8 seconds, or else it's an automatic strike. With runners on base, the time is reset if the pitcher attempts to pick off or step off the rubber, and they can only step off twice. So
Yeah.
once they can step off once. That's your 2, and the third time you have to get the runner out. So I think a lot of runners are going to take advantage of that. Mound visits, injury timeouts, and offensive team timeouts do not count at the. Let's see, the team is allotted 5 mound visits prior to the 9th inning, so they can only use 5 mound visits before the 9th inning. So that's kind of going to speed up the game a little bit. Mm-hmm. And the umpires may provide extra time warranted for special circumstances. And they state here, if the catcher got thrown out on the base path the prior inning, they'll give them extra time to relax and stuff. So
yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be one of those things that we'll be talking about for a while on what it is. And yes, they have taken the bases from 15 inches and they've gone to 18 inches now. And yes, it is bigger than Jose Altuve. So it's
see, that's one of the things right there. I can see doing it to first base, but the other 2 bases, I don't understand why they had to change the size. I don't know. First base.
You can do like softball at first base where they have
the 2 bags. Yeah.
Well, why don't they just do that?
Well, yeah, because I think that the reason why they did this, and so I kind of agree with the first base one, because you're trying to prevent, like first basemen from collisions and getting stepped on, because that's where a lot of injuries happen. So I think that was their main concern. So they're like, yeah, let's make them bigger and see if it actually helps. I mean, it kind of is. It's becoming slow pitch softball. Because when you think about it, eventually what's going to happen is, if you've played slow pitch softball, you know how it works. When the game starts, they say you have 1 hour and 35 minutes to play this game. Yep. And it doesn't matter if the innings are not up, the game is over. And eventually, we're kind of hoping that MLB doesn't go that route. So Chuck's saying, so what that means is the runner waits until the second throw over, then he can just take off. Pretty much.
Ricky Henderson would have ate up that rule.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. So you're gonna get guys who don't normally steal bases, and you're gonna just get anybody just to go out there and steal a base.
I wouldn't go that far because I don't think my size.
Why not?
I would try.
Why not? You're going to have people try it. Yeah,
okay. So let's throw it out there. What's the likelihood of let's say Pujols. Pujols is at first. I mean, how many times are you going to really throw over when Pujols is on base? 1 to maybe 0.
You may not throw it over very much, but if you happen to, what I'm saying is if pitchers happen to throw it over those couple times, you're going to see him. You're going to see him do it.
Oh yeah, Buxton for sure. If you throw over twice on Buxton or step off once and throw over, yeah. If I'm Buxton, I'm going on the first pitcher's move. I'm gone.
So. Oh, absolutely. But that's so. Chuck's saying the player turning the double play at second only has to be within a 10-foot circle instead of tagging second. Well, yeah, they call it a in the area play. That's. Yeah, it's that neighborhood play that they've talked about forever. But still, in the neighborhood play, that's still one of those things that people go, is it really a neighborhood play? Because that's where people are really confused on what is a neighborhood play. Because sometimes they call it, and sometimes they don't.
Wait a minute. So a neighborhood play. So you're telling me a shortstop, second base going to turn a double play doesn't have to touch the bag; they just have to be inches away.
So, that's typically.
Normally, they swipe the bag somehow, but
sometimes it's close, and they call them out anyways because it's a neighborhood play. But then other times, the team goes, "Well, I'm going to challenge it."
So it's
they're
an
like, I'm going to
unwritten
challenge.
rule thing.
Yeah,
Unwritten
it's
rule.
kind of
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of like how you feel because
Yeah.
it's been in the past to where the manager's like, wait, that's a neighborhood play, and you're going to overturn it, and they go, well, yeah, because its foot wasn't on the base. They go, okay, but this has happened so many times in the past.
That's why they made it bigger for safety reasons.
Yeah,
But
it's a
when
safety
it's
reason.
wet, they're going to worry about the foot sliding, and like Bryce Harper had the injury with the Nationals back in the day. So I'm worried about that still. But there's nothing you could do about that. And then freak injuries like turning your foot on the bag, that's still an issue. And then there's a couple of things about the pitch clock and the times of the game. These are spring training games. I know everybody's liking, 2 hours, 20 minutes average, whatever it is.
They're down about a half hour, I think. So far.
Right.
Yeah, it's knocked off a significant amount of time.
It's not going to happen like that in the regular season. There'll be more commercials. There'll be more of that happening. It's totally different from spring training. And then there's going to be a lot of tired arms because of how fast you have to get the ball out. That's what I'm thinking. But we're going to see more stolen bases, hopefully. But I like what I think Tim was saying, how it's becoming more of a softball league because all of the analytics are telling the hitters to swing for the fences. And that's what you see in softball. And I really hate that. And I like now you can't shift in the infield. I do like that. So the regular base hits that we were used to seeing getting thrown out at first now are, CNI singles. Yeah. You're seeing more just regular base hits. I love it.
And you know what? And I do like Tim's comment that he just put up there.
This one?
It was the one. When a star player gets injured, it's amazing how the rules change because
that's in a lot of sports. It seems like.
Yeah, they had the Buster Posey rule because he got hit.
Yeah, but going back to what James was saying there for a second, you're talking about like home runs and stuff, and people want to hit home runs and they don't want to bat for average. So this year, my oldest son is playing. This is his first season playing baseball. So he found interest. He wants to play baseball. So he's been playing MLB The Show. Well, the problem is with that is he's going on there going, yeah, man, these dingers. So I sat down with him and I told him, I was like, look, I want to get this in your head and I want to make it perfectly clear. When you go out there on that field, I don't want you focusing on hitting damn home runs. Okay. I want you focusing on getting on base. Yep. Seeing the ball, taking it to the opposite field, getting on base. I don't need you to come home and tell me how you hit 4 home runs in one game, but you struck out 4 times. And I was like, no, I don't want to hear about that. Okay. I want to know how you got on base. That's how I want to hear. I don't care if you walk. I don't care if you get a single. I don't care if you get a double. I want you focusing on getting on base.
And I got one more point for him and anybody listening. 3-2 count. Protect the plate. That ball's close. Swing at it. That is one pet peeve of mine when I see a 3-2 count and the guy just looks at the pitch right down the middle. It's just like,
well, and please, for the love of God, on a 3-0 count, don't swing. Don't swing on a 3-0 count.
Yeah,
but the new generation saw Tatis Jr. do it and hit a grand slam, and everybody does it now.
Yeah,
did somebody from the White Sox do that to the Twins that year too?
Yeah.
Yes, but
and Tony La Russa lit up Mercedes for doing that.
That's
too.
him, yeah.
Yeah, but the big focus
that's a tough one. I mean,
it is.
If the game's close, 3-0, I'm swinging. If the game's out of hand, I wouldn't swing at a 3-0 pitch. But if I'm trying to get something started in a close game, I would swing at a 3-0 pitch.
I don't know. I'm taking it. If it's a 3-0 pitch, I'm taking it.
But again, it also depends. Is it the 7th or 8th straight ball the pitcher threw? Then I might take one. But if it's a close game, I'm swinging at a 3-0 pitch.
All right. So and Tim saying nope, swing for the fences. No way, man. All right. So going on to our next topic. Our next topic we're gonna hit on the NBA. So and this one to me is basically shocking to me. And the reason I'm saying this is because look, we know weeks ago that Giannis went down, right? So Antetokounmpo went down, and if you were a Bucks fan, you were kind of panicky. Like when I saw it, so I'm not technically the Bucks aren't my favorite team. I like them, but they're not my favorite team. So I know when Antetokounmpo went down, I was like, well, the Bucks that I believe they were second at the time, and so I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking, okay, are they going to still be able to win without having Antetokounmpo? But they still have 15 wins in a row. Like
16,
they're continuing.
They just won tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so they're continuing to win without Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak in the lineup. So let me tell you, if you're other teams in the NBA and you're watching this Bucks team without Antetokounmpo winning, should you be concerned? Because just wait until he comes back. So Big B, I'll start out with you. Is this impressive that the Bucks are able to pull this off without their star player?
I was just looking to see who's been filling in for him. Do we know how long he's sidelined for? Or
No, Giannis played tonight.
Yeah, he played tonight, so he's back.
Yeah, this was his first game back.
Okay.
Right, you said he was out though.
Yeah, no. If the thing is
he's been out before this. Like
I know
first game back.
Yeah.
For me, yeah, I'd be kind of scary because they're winning without their superstar. They kept their winning streak going without their superstar. So yeah, I'd be kind of scared of what to expect from these guys. I mean, it's a team that it seems like if they're fully healthy, got their guns, they're going to be unbeatable. So, I was just I was trying to see who filled in for them today. So, but yeah, they, to me, they're going to be unbeatable. They played the Nets today? No, that's not right.
Magic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, come on. It was the Magic.
Yeah.
Just wait till they play Detroit.
So it looks like for them.
Well, yeah, when they play Detroit, man, it's going to be friggin'.
Well, speaking of Detroit, did you just see what your buddy Messerall just posted?
Oh boy,
Ivy, yeah,
called a timeout without having any timeouts.
Oh, so, Chris Webber route.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if they're healthy and winning without their star player, yeah, I'd be scared.
So, James, how impressive is this that the Bucks just keep winning? And I know this is Giannis's first game back, but they did all this without him.
It looks like second game back, actually.
Second game, okay, second game.
So they're deep, and he didn't miss that much time. Remember, he played 1 minute 20 seconds in the All-Star game. He had a little concession dunk, and then he set out. So at least he played it. He played a little bit. But after that, he was out.
If I do remember right, James, I think out of this 15-game win streak before it went to 16 before he came back, I do believe he missed 8 games, though. And so I think that they won 8 games without him. And that's crazy.
Yeah, there was some rest with that, and we'll get to that with Charles Barkley. So he wasn't really injured; he just rested.
But that's still 8 games. They still won those 8 games.
I'm just saying he just rested, and that they're so deep that doesn't matter. Right? I mean, they just got Jay
Crowder.
Nobody on Phoenix wanted him, and all of a sudden he became available. That only adds to what they can do, and that's why they're the number 1 seed. But when you have Brooke Lopez and Drew Holiday, champions with the Bucks, and you add that with Giannis, but then you have Javon Carter, who's a great defensive player. Connaughton can hit threes. Grayson Allen, who was, just a cheap shot artist, has become a great three-point shooter. And then Bobby Portis has done the same thing, and he can rebound. And then you throw in Joel Ingles, who was out for a while last year with the injury, and then Utah just traded him away, I believe, to Portland, and then Milwaukee just signed him out of nowhere. They're so deep, and they also got Miles Leonard, who can rebound as well. So I wasn't surprised at all because the East, it's after the 5th seed, it's a little weak when you think about it. Brooklyn right now is what, the 5th seed or 6th seed? They're with New York, and I think New York won over Brooklyn tonight. The Nets are going to fall off. So really, when you think about it, you have Boston, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Cleveland. You only got those top 4. And Milwaukee is proven to be better, I think, when healthy. Because remember, they didn't have they're without Middleton right now too.
Mm-hmm.
And they were without him last year, and Boston beat him. So whenever hopefully Middleton's healthy. And when he is, that makes the Bucks, I think, top in the East. Because, like I said, after the 4 teams, the East is just, it's a bunch of nobodies. So I think I'm not really
which 4, James?
Huh?
Which 4 did you say?
Okay, so right now it's Milwaukee, Boston, Philadelphia, Cleveland.
Okay.
And then after that, you got the Knicks, which are, they're having a great year, but it's like,
but they're not going to do anything.
Exactly. And then Brooklyn's going to fall out. And then you have all the play-in teams after that. And Chicago, Indiana, and Washington and Atlanta, and you don't trust any of them. So that's why I think it's Milwaukee's conference to lose.
Yeah.
Now,
I totally agree.
I will tell you, I am changing my mind. And the reason I'm saying that is before, I seriously didn't think that Milwaukee was this good. I knew they were good, but I didn't know that they were going to be this good. And I honestly had the Suns going against the Celtics in the championship. But
wow.
Yeah.
I did. But now I'm kind of starting to switch just a little bit. And now I think I'm transitioning and jumping on that bandwagon of the Milwaukee Bucks again. And so
health is key, though. It depends who's healthy, though. That's all it comes down to.
It is, but that's what I'm saying. I'm now almost switching and saying, okay, I'm no longer having the Celtics. I'm thinking it's going to be the Bucks now instead of the Celtics, because from what I've seen from the Bucks over the last several weeks is they're showing you how deep they really are. And they are.
Is it the cliche opinion of sports people out there saying, are they peaking at the wrong time?
No, I don't think they are.
Yeah,
no,
I don't like that at all. I don't like when people say that at all.
No, I don't think this Bucks team is peaking at the wrong time. I think this Bucks team that's playing right now, I think if they were healthy throughout the season, come on, man. And if they had Jay Crowder to start the season, this team would be a heck of a lot better than what they actually are now. So
he's fresher now.
What's up?
He's fresher now because he hasn't played, so he's raring to go.
But it's just crazy. It's just crazy, though. Let me ask you guys: were you guys expecting the Bucks to be this good, though?
Yeah, I knew they were going to be a contender.
Yeah, I put them in the contender top 8. I expect them to be leading a half a game right now. Possibly with the best record in the league. No.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think anybody expected that.
No, I figured. I mean, Boston, Boston and Philly would be up there. With a close third with Milwaukee, because you can't count them out,
right?
So, but yeah, once playoff comes, I mean, as we all know, it's who's hot. Could the Bucks falter a little bit? I mean,
but any team can falter. It just takes that one injury. Takes that one key injury.
That's what happened to the Bucks last year.
But the thing is for the Bucks, it might take 2 key injuries, because look what they're doing. Look what they've done. With their star player out. I mean, they still kept winning. They still kept the 16-game winning streak going. So it might take 2. In their case, it might take 2 injuries.
It might. It very well might. And we kind of see how. And James, not to knock, on the Mavericks or anything, but we talked about this, and we said,
Clippers. He's a Clipper fan.
I know, but I was saying not to knock on what we said because we called it. Like we said, is it going to work or is it going to knock? And is it not going to work? Well, right now it's kind of showing it's not working. Dallas has not won very many games without him.
I was trying to figure out where you were going with that.
Yeah,
with the Mavericks. Okay. Yeah, like I say, with those two guys that are ball centric, where they have to have the basketball at the whole time, that's tough. And when you only have and you don't have half of a season, you have 20 games to get it right before the playoffs. That's a hard thing to do. That's why I'm not sure if it's gonna work or not. And then Kyrie ain't gonna stay around.
Right? Yeah, he won't. And that's kind of I'm thinking now. Could Dallas be contenders? I mean, if they get it together, they could. With Luka and Kyrie, they could if they get it together. But I don't think they're going to have enough time to be able to get it together and compete against, especially against a team like Phoenix and teams like that. There's no way.
Denver, Memphis, Minnesota. You can throw the Clippers in there. Sacramento has been having a great season. They're going to make the playoffs for the first time since 2006. Just think about that. I think all those teams are better than Dallas. I have to think that.
Well, and right now they're showing it.
Yeah. Oh, and as we're sitting right now in the West, I mean, Dallas is sitting number 7, Minnesota at 8, and Utah at 9. And New Orleans at 10. And the thing is any one of those guys can go on a nice win streak. They can jump up to 4th right away because they're only a game apart between 5th and 12th are a game apart. So, I mean, you get a bad string, you're out of the playoff games. You get a good streak, you're sitting pretty decent going into the playoffs. So, that West coming down to the last few games is going to be wild, I would say.
Yeah. Warriors, get them in there still. Depending on Draymond Green, I know he got hurt. And Curry's out. So I don't know. Maybe the Warriors won't make it. The Lakers won't make it, I'll tell you that.
Well, they're only a half a game out of the play-in game. So
they're without LeBron. They're without AD. They're without Russell.
That might be better for them. I mean,
they have all 3 out, so it's you're stuck with all those young guys.
And trust me, I don't want the Lakers in. Don't get me wrong.
Right? Yeah, me neither. But so since we're talking in NBA and when I threw the topics out, I'm like, well, I should have put the other NBA topic with it. So I'm just going to switch them around and we'll do that one next. And I know, Big B, you were wondering, what I was talking about. Yes. So Charles Barkley came out and basically made a statement. And when he made this statement, I was like, you know what? That was straight up facts. When Charles Barkley made the statement, he said, "Are you kidding me? You guys are coming out asking for 70 million a year on your contracts and things like that. And you all are going out there and taking these freaking rest days." He's like, "What the heck is rest days?" He's like, there's freaking lumber workers out there that they're tired, they're hurt, and guess what? They're going to work every day. And you don't think that they don't want to take a day off? They do. And they're making way less money. So, Big B, when he's making that statement, do you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, there's actually been a lot of clips I've been seeing over Facebook, TikTok, all over social media. I missed the Charles Barkley one, but MJ's come out and said it. Pippen's come out and said it. There's been a lot of the older NBA guys that have come out and almost said the exact same thing. You're giving these guys, these young players, these big contracts, and they don't have to earn anything. They have one good year, you pay them. They have a good college career, you pay them. they come in not earning nothing. I mean, granted, yes. Again, if I went to another job and it offered me $30 million to come in for the first time, I'm not going to turn it down, no doubt. But to a point, you got to earn these things, and that's one thing me and James were talking about backstage before you got on is a lot of sports are giving these massive deals to unearned players or not. I mean, granted, all contracts are outrageous no matter who you are, but NBA just they got so many. I can't even follow all the contracts rules because it's so much. Because to trade a player, you got to be 90 or like 75% within the salary cap, but then you can sign a player to this contract, but you can sign this player to this different max contract. I don't know. It's getting all confusing, but no, I agree with Barkley. Probably the first time I'll ever say that.
Well, yeah, and that's why when I shared it, when I shared it, I said that same thing. I said, look, I'm not a big Barkley guy. I don't agree a lot with what Barkley says, but when he said that, I was like, he's spitting straight facts there. Like, that was like straight 100% facts. All of us go to work. We do our job. We don't have what we call rest days. We don't get those. We can't go into our boss and be like, hey, you know what, boss? I'm taking this one out because I'm going to take a rest day. Our boss can be like, heck no, man, we don't have staff. Guess what you're doing? You're freaking working. You're showing up. You're working. We don't get those, and we make way less money. And so, you're starting to see it now to where, and James, I know Kawhi is a Clipper, but he's one of those guys that are kind of like that. He gets healthy, plays for a while, maybe a few games, and he has another rest day. LeBron, he does the same thing. He plays a few games. They give him a rest day. Now people say that about Anthony Davis. I'm like, no, that dude doesn't have rest days because he's just always hurt. So he doesn't have to have rest days because he's always out. But when it comes to it, it's like that's the problem now. Is like there's so many freaking rest days that everybody's just like, I'll play a couple games and then I'll sit one out or two.
And that's the thing with people buying tickets. They're like, well, I'll wait last minute because if my son, his first game and he's a big LeBron fan, who knows if he's going to see LeBron or a Curry fan, and stuff like that. It's tough. I like going to games, and yeah, I'd be upset if the other team coming in wasn't fully at full strength. But again, I mean, granted, it's part of the game. But if the player's healthy, they should be playing. I mean, but then again, you got people faking these little injuries. Oh, I rolled my ankle, getting out of bed or stuff like that. So until sports in general can fix it, we're going to see these, especially in basketball, these rest days.
Right. These guys, these players need to remember Ray Caldwell. Okay, back in like 1914 with the Cleveland Indians or whatever, when he got struck by lightning, died, and they resuscitated him on the field, and he finished the game pitching. Like you can't. Come on, man. The dude died, and he finished the game after they revived him.
Let's clear it up first, Ace. We're not out here saying, if you get injured, break your leg or whatever, we expect you to come back and play. You got legit injury, okay, sit it out. Because again, you can go back to Buffalo Bills game when Hamlin got knocked out. Granted, I guarantee if he was healthy enough, he would have wanted to return. I mean, they did a good thing there. So, again, we're not saying that, if you're healthy, if you're unhealthy, we want you to play. No, that's not the case. If you're healthy, we want you to play. And Ace brought up a good point with that Cleveland pitcher back in whatever. Struck by lightning, they revived him. They were going to take him out of the game. He's like, nope, I'm finishing my game here.
Right. Yeah, and Big B, I'm with you on that. I'm not saying, if you have like a severe injury to go out there and play. But, you have guys who was sprained pinkies and they're like, oh, I can't play because I got a sprained pinky. Yep. And it's like, Dude, that's a sprained pinky. Are you kidding me? You can't play on a sprained freaking pinky? So,
I mean, heck, let's take Kirk Gibson, for example, in 89 or whatever.
88.
88 World Series, held out of the game. They were only going to use him for a pinch hit. He comes hobbling, to the plate, hits a game-winning home run, and almost has to crawl around the bases. But, I mean, he ran, jogged.
right.
So, yeah.
Tiger Woods won the Masters with a torn ACL.
Okay, we're going to go that route. Then Kurt
In a
Angle
broken
won.
marriage.
And Kurt Angle won the gold medal with a broken freaking neck. So
That's the best.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Okay, so James, what's your thoughts on the statement that Barkley made?
I gotta mention Big B's take on Gibson. There's that story where Gibson's, I think, in the locker room, and he heard Vince Scully say, "We will not see Kirk Gibson tonight play." I asked him not playing, and he got in the batting cage and he pinched it and hit the home run. So I always love that story whenever I hear about that home run. No, this is why I love Charles Barkley. He's wrong a lot of times, and they're funny takes. It's like a life lesson where if it's not that serious, just have fun with it. You agree to disagree and move on, basically. And I know he always says that, but it's true. Like, and you mentioned Kawhi Leonard, Ace. Well, he's the poster boy. It all started with him. It all started with Popovich, and then Uncle Dennis came through, Kawhi's uncle, and told him, "Hey, you could play whenever you want. Just you could be lazy after the knee injury, or I think it was a ankle injury back in 2017 with the Spurs, but they started to rest players in like 2014. Remember, and they got fined for it. Yep. It was a big national televised game against the Big Three in Miami on TNT, and they got fined for it. And ever since then, I think the Players Association said, you can't fine these guys for sitting out. And you start seeing, and I hate it because Big B mentioned it too, because I knew people that drove so many miles to go watch their favorite player play, and they're sitting out. Like when Cleveland had the Big Three, Love, Irving, LeBron James, they're playing the Clippers. I had someone go up to LA from San Diego expecting LeBron, his favorite player, to play. And guess what? They're sitting out the national televised game. Yep. But they play the next night against the Lakers. So it's just, it's being a hypocrite, basically. So I'm happy Charles Barkley does this. I know the league won't like it, but it shows how load management is just awful. And then paying these, quote, bums $300 million, on a contract, or, whatever he said. The thing is, the problem, and the NBA is the worst at this, rookie contracts shorter now. That means you could get a newer contract and do less years on each contract, so you get more money on each new contract, and it just adds up. And then the NBA too, with the whole deal with the association and the owners, they fleeced the owners, basically, did the Players Association with these new contracts, where one guy, it seems like, oh man, he didn't seem like he earned that deal, but he got paid a lot, and then he doesn't have to play as hard, or he doesn't have to do as much. And you see that a lot in football too, because the contracts are not guaranteed, unless there's a money guarantee, but not the whole thing. And that's bad in the NFL. But I agree with everything Chuck says for once, and I really like it. He is the lone person that will keep it real. Everybody else goes with the agenda. Like, hey, we have to back the players sitting out. We have to think about their health. Remember, they put more off days in because LeBron James wanted that, right? Yeah. But they're still sitting out games. So it just doesn't make sense. And now the All-Star break is longer for the players. They can go to Cancun or wherever, Barbados, and come back and play. Damian Lillard, remember last week, he set out a game, I think on Thursday, after the All-Star break. Like, how the hell does that happen? It's amazing to me And I just feel bad for the fans, like Charles also said. Like, again, you're paying all this money, hard-earned money. Well, some of it's hard-earned, not for the people sitting real up close. They're all influencers and music people, celebrities. But for those, you think about people sitting up in the nosebleeds, bringing their families with them. They're expecting, the whole team. Like like Big B mentioned, you want to see full string unless there's a serious injury. I know Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, they would play unless they were seriously hurt. They would make it a point to come out and entertain the crowd. That's all gone now. And I hate the NBA because of that. I haven't been involved with it as much because of that. Because I'm checking injury reports. I'm like, if they're not full string, why would I watch? I'll wait for the playoffs, basically.
No, I'm right there with you, James, because when you talk about, people taking rest days and everything else, it reminds me to a picture that they once showed with Kobe Bryant sitting on the bench, right? And he's got ice on his shoulder, ice on both of his knees. He's got ice on his ankles. And it was the year that the Lakers were sitting at like 18 wins, and they were like one of the worst teams in basketball. And they told him, they're like, if you want to sit out, and he's like, no, bro, you pay me to play basketball.
Thank you.
Yeah, my shoulders hurt, my knees are hurt, my ankles hurt, but man, I'm here to play basketball. I'm going on that court and I'm playing. Like, you don't see that Mamba mentality anymore. You don't see it. People want to take rest days. It's not, you're not going to see like another Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, or guys like that. You're just not going to see it anymore. So every time I just think back to the Kobe part. Yeah. That's just so funny. Ice, and he's still out there on the court playing.
One of Jordan's game 7s, wasn't he like had 101 fever going into the game and still ended up playing?
It was the flu game. Yeah.
It was game 5, I think, in Utah.
Was it game 5? Okay.
And then they won game 6 in Chicago. But it was a very pivotal game because the series was tied at 2. Yeah. So they needed that game, and he played through it. And
yeah, you definitely don't have the Mamba mentality of going out there 82 games and playing 82 games. I mean,
no, the odds of seeing anybody play 82 games anymore,
unless they're a bench guy.
Unless
it's a bench guy, your superstars aren't playing 82 games.
Yeah, I mean, your bench guys might, but anybody who's a big name, you're not playing 82 games.
No,
it's just not going to happen.
That used to be a badge of honor. I collected, all sorts of cards, right, and basketball cards, and I would look in the back of them to see, hey, did he play all 82? Was he a minutes leader? Was he dependable? How many points had he scored? But most importantly, was he available? And it seemed like now that's not the case. You don't worry about that. You want them all healthy for the playoffs, basically. So I guess we'll all wait for the playoffs.
I mean, well, yeah, but that's the worst thing too. Is like I always thought, okay, so what if they made it in the playoffs to where you had to play, like these 4 or 5 games in 1 week? Are you going to act the same way that you're acting now in the regular season?
No, they're not going to do that. No. Then you would lose all credibility. So there's no way that would happen.
You wouldn't think so, but you never know how these people are going to act.
Yeah, I want to watch. I want to watch them. I'm good. Because if you're not going to give me everything and what we're all paying to watch, then that's why the league has its lowest ratings ever. Like the All-Star game was awful in ratings, and then all these primetime games are awful awful ratings. So the playoffs, though, you have to play that, or else the league they already have big problems, but that would be the biggest.
Well, it's not only that, but there's also, not just because of that, and I hate to say it because, I'll get a lot of backlash for it, but that's okay. I was going to say the ratings are also down because of this one particular player in the NBA that can't keep his mouth shut and has to constantly say crap that he shouldn't say. And so, and I think everybody knows where I'm going with it, and that's okay. If you want to call me a hater, call me a hater. I don't care. It's got nothing to do with hating on anybody. I'm stating facts. It's facts. Look at the ratings. Look at the people that are talking and saying it. It's because of a particular player that can't stop and wants to be in the spotlight for everything.
So here's a stat. Just look it up while we're talking streaks. I know that's not where we went to, but playing games. So the most NBA games played in a row, AC Green, 1,192. All right. Second, I believe, surpassed. So the second guy on that list that he passed was, where is it now? Randy Smith, 206, back in 97 is when he passed him, I think. Yeah. The current streak is 331 by Miguel Bridges, whoever that is.
Yeah, he was on the Suns. He was a bench player, and he got traded to Brooklyn.
Yeah, and he got traded to Brooklyn.
For Brooklyn now.
Yeah, so he played in 2008. So 2018 to the present time, Suns and got traded recently to Brooklyn. So
yeah, but that was our point, though. What we were saying before, if you're a bench player, you can do it.
Yep.
But if you're a starter and you're a star, it's not going to happen. You're not going to see a star player with playing 300 consecutive in NBA games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So right now he's on. So he hasn't missed a game since the start of the 2020 season. Or I'm sorry. Oh yeah, 2020 season, because that was COVID year, I think. So yeah, so he's played 72, 82, and 56 games right now. So he's got a long way to go, but
I would definitely be curious to see who the actual leader is for starters. For like a star, who's actually played the most consecutive games.
It'd be a very low number, and it would be on a really bad team. Yeah. That's what I would think.
It would be. It would be a very low number on a bad team.
Yeah.
And that's
I'm running out of people because I'm thinking like everybody sits or somebody gets hurt. It doesn't matter what team it's on to. It won't be every. It's hard to find probably.
Yeah, you would think.
What I'm trying to say.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, and just think, if it was on a bad team, you would think that if you were a star player on a bad team, that might be the one time that you might be like, "Hey, bro, I don't want to play every game. Like, I don't want to be a part of this."
No, I'm just gonna get my points. I'm gonna get my stats and then go home.
right. But
that's what it's about.
But if you're on a really good team, then you may want to go out there and be like, "Yep, I'm going to put up my points. I'm going to show them this is what I made of." But if you're on a bad team, you can see it's hard for them to actually go out there and play day in and day out because it's such a bad team.
Not when you're getting paid so much. It doesn't. You just spend more on each paycheck.
Yeah, right now everything I'm looking up it says Bridges. It doesn't say anybody else.
Yeah,
not even who was second closest.
Right. So, does it show a current?
It just shows. It keeps showing Bridges every time I click on current NBA Ironman streak. So while we hit that last topic, I'll see if I can keep finding it.
Well, that's okay. We can save that topic for next week since we're running out of time, anyways. And we're gonna end.
I don't watch the XFL.
Yep, I do. So I do, and I actually had a lot to say, but that's okay.
There are some good rules that they could take on.
There is, and so we can definitely cover that next week. So we're at that point now. Why Big B's waiting to look up that one stat. James, what are some of your final thoughts for the night?
Don't watch the XFL.
Hey now, get that out of your mouth. Come on.
Hopefully the pitch count thing will be better for everyone. I I'm not watching the XFL. I don't care. But yeah, good topics. We learned a lot today or tonight. We learned that Giannis, even if not playing, the Bucks are too deep, and Charles Barkley for once
got something
right.
All right, not James. Big B, how about you?
No, thanks for everybody for watching, tuning in. If you guys haven't seen, we took a bye week this week for in the Den with the Cougars. We'll be on next week. Morning tailgate will not be on this week. Nothing's really going on right now, but we definitely will get caught up here in a couple weeks to have a show. Between the ropes, you can catch the guys. Hopefully myself, I wasn't the best yesterday to get on, but missed doing that show with the guys. So just keep checking us out. We got a lot of things coming.
Yep, we definitely want to thank everybody for watching. It's been another fun time here on Sports Minute. A lot of great topics tonight. We're going to have a lot of great topics for you next week. Foreshadowing, I know we are going to talk a little bit about the XFL next week. I know James doesn't want to, and that's completely okay. You can save that segment for me. I don't mind. I will talk about the XFL, and so will Big B. He will talk about it with me also. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. Keep watching C2C. We got a lot of great stuff coming. There's even more stuff in the works. So with that, everyone have a fantastic night, and we will see you next Wednesday for another episode of Sports Minute.
Peace.